What's going on, everybody? It's Rob Brunson from Wallace Electronic Sales. We're back again with the electronic intervention. Hope everyone had a really good Memorial Day weekend. I know the weather was pretty cool everywhere. It was nice here in North Carolina. Got my fan on now because it's starting to warm up a little bit. Today we have Ken Bellero from Schaffner USA. Really looking forward to this interview. I think it's going to be really interesting. If you guys follow me on LinkedIn, you see some of my posts talking about how, EMC and EMI filtering is going to be a really big thing about getting your products to market as we move into a more regulated world. So I'm really excited to have Ken on to talk about that and some of Schaffner's capabilities. And, then we'll get into some fun stuff towards the end. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring Ken on. Ken, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Rob. It's good to see you this afternoon.
You as well. Did you have a good Memorial Day weekend?
I have to admit, your comment's a little off there because the Northeast, we had rain from Friday afternoon and it did not stop until Sunday night. So,
oh, no.
I mean, rain, like those kind of rains.
So you weren't doing any grilling out, I take it?
We did no grilling out. We did save it for yesterday. It did clear up a little bit.
Okay.
Chilly. We hit lows of 43, 44 degrees on Saturday night. So
see, in North Carolina, it was like 64. So for us, that was really nice. My fiance and I, we took the dogs on a walk, spent some time outside.
Yeah.
But we didn't have it rained for like 20 minutes. You know how in the Southeast we get those kind of flash storms and it'll rain really quickly and then it just vanishes and it's sunny outside. We had one of those, I believe, on Saturday. But other than that, Sunday and Monday were pretty clear. Monday she had me cleaning the house all day, so that's what we woke up and did. But
we did that all weekend in the rain, so we had a lot of time to do that, and we were able to enjoy the deck a little bit yesterday. So
yeah,
you make the best of everything, don't we?
That's right. That's all you can do. So tell us a little bit about yourself. For those of you, I'm sure most of you. Everyone who's watching this kind of has a familiar idea who you are, but tell us a little bit about you and what you do for Schaffner.
We have 3 hours, right? You told me there's no problem, right?
Hey, we got as long as you need, man.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm a little well-known in the industry. I mean, I've been in the electronics industry, Rob, for, I think I counted, it's getting close to 40 years, believe it or not. I've been married 40 years soon. So I know that I'm slightly behind that on my years in the electronics industry, but wasn't where I had intended to go. As you know, I'm the president of Schaffner, and I've been president here now. It's going to be my 11th year starting in October, which I cannot believe it's been that long. And that gives me 21 years here at Schaffner in total, starting way back on Valentine's Day in 2000.
Wow.
Before technology was even known, in the old days. And, it's been a great ride. I mean, I have to admit, Schaffner has been extremely good to me. This entire career that I really didn't plan on so much really took off for me. When I started as an inside sales manager, I mean, that was my first role here in 2000. But then quickly went into a regional manager role, on the East Coast, where I met a lot of the people that I work with today, a lot of the reps that are still some of my reps from when I was out there. Then after that, I kind of moved into more of a sales management position and ran the regional manager situation, along with some of the distribution responsibilities, along with Richard Thorpe, who's been an icon in the industry and who actually just retired March 31st after almost 20 years with Schaffner. So,
wow.
Yeah, so him and I were pretty much a Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin team out on the road, if you know what I mean. So we had a lot of good friends out in the distribution world and out in the rep world that we've really had. So from there, I worked my way up to vice president of sales. And at that time, it was Gillis Mellon as president of Schaffner right before me. And then Gillis announced his retirement, 11 years ago. And then he actually he announced it 12 years ago, but stayed 1 year at Schaffner as we transitioned, my position and kind of give me the opportunity to get comfortable as president. So it's all worked out, and it's been nothing but uphill since then. We've had tremendous success in the United States. I can honestly say now we are the #1 filter provider in the United States of America. We have quite a few competitors that think they're they're there, but unfortunately, in the last 3 to 5 years, they've really crumbled. And so Schaffner's really taken the forefront. I can't take all the credit. You know, my team definitely is the biggest part of our success. We have some of the greatest regional managers who have the greatest background in our product line and in our marketability. And we have an outstanding engineering team as well that kind of backs that all up. Not to mention, when you call Schaffner, our inside sales staff is #1 and will take care of anything that they need to do at the drop of a hat. So altogether, I have a lot of people to thank for this success, but it's so good to be at this level right now, you know, enjoying that and having the ability, specifically after the last year we've had, or last 14 months that the world has had to have with COVID, that we've been able to really survive that with minimal, you know, with minimal hurt to us, and then continue to grow our business in the United States, basically because of how strong of a company that we are.
For sure. And I want to attest to that. You know, Tom Larkin, we're on the East Coast. He's awesome. We love Tom. He's one of the best, you know, managers a rep could ask for. You know, he helps us with everything. And then I got to say this because I tell everybody this, Dave Arbitage, if you're watching this, you're one of the smartest people, man.
Absolutely.
And that man said,
he's my smart guy. Trust me.
Golly,
I go right to David. He'll answer it. He knows exactly how to handle an EMC issue or an EMI problem.
That guy's brilliant, man. He is he's one of the smarter people. When I first started, and you know, I would get in email exchanges with Dave, I would just be like, hey, half the stuff you're saying, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'll learn it, but goodness, boy, he is a smart guy, man.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. I'm the president of the company, and to be honest, I need him to really guide me through the technical end of this business.
For sure.
I can do sales and marketing, no problem. Like, you know, tomorrow it's there, but Dave, he can really do wonders with our customer base and with our customers to provide the best service that he could, you know, just to get them the right products that they need.
Yeah, you guys have a great team. That's undeniable. I think all the reps and all the distributors know that. So I guess while we're on it, I'm going to ask a little bit of a self-serving question.
Sure.
Why the rep model?
Oh, I am the #1 fan of the rep model, I think, in this entire industry. I've gone so far as to be a member of the executive board and the executive committee of the ERA, because I firmly believe in a rep model for our business. I mean, quite frankly, you know, a company like Schaffner, where we're not, you know, we're not huge, we're not in the billions of dollars range. You know, we're definitely a $200 million global company worldwide, you know, and in the United States, probably more like $20 million here that we do locally. But, you know, it's basically you know, it's an important thing. I just lost my train of thought. I always do that. Hopefully everybody will hang in there, but I start to lose my thoughts right away. But
yeah, I mean, the ERA Council, you know, I went to ERA last year. Well, what would be last year? And, you know, the presence that Schaffner has there, I know you guys are one of the top sponsors. And it's a great way, you know, just kind of touching on ERA a little bit.
Well, I just think that it's the way that I have to handle my business. And it's because not so much because we're a smaller company. I don't want to give that impression. For me, using the rep really gives me that visibility into every territory in the United States.
Sure.
And when you really build a strong rep organization like we have, and I didn't even mention that, but that's something that's extremely important to Schaffner, is our rep organization. We've spent a lot of time, you know, slicing and dicing and bringing in the right companies. Yeah. Wallace, for example, I mean, you guys been with us, I think, 5, 6, 7 years now. It goes by so fast. But, you know, we really try to look for the quality reps that are out there that could really focus on our line. And that's a hard thing because reps have a lot of big lines out there that are very demanding. And to find the right rep with the right personalities and the right team that can put Schaffner #1 in their mind, maybe not #1 in their dollars, but #1 in their mind, that's the guys we want to work with. And I can safely say right now, we have 17 of those guys in every one of the territories in the United States. We have no territories uncovered. We have no direct business with any customers that we don't have a direct relationship with. Everything is handled by our rep organization because, as I said, I can't support them enough. It's the way that we have become the most successful company in this industry.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think about with Schaffner is, I mean, we follow each other on LinkedIn, but I almost think of Schaffner as almost a futuristic product, right? I know that there's tons of applications that you have now, but if you look at Europe and, you know, mainly Europe, everything's really regulated, right? So I think a lot of those trends tend to slowly sneak over to America as time goes by. So I think as we get into electric vehicles, as we get into, you know, a cleaner energy grid, things like that, these EMC and these EMI filters are going to be so important. So that's one of the things that I always like to talk to people about is, hey, look, you may not need this right now, but I bet you in 5 to 6 years, if you're making anything electronic based, you're going to have some sort of an EMC and an EMI filter on there. So
I can give you great examples. I mean, every day, my regional managers or Dave and his team will find these most unusual applications.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everything from, you know, every Starbucks coffee machine to every McDonald's and Burger King oven that cooks your burgers are using technology that needs EMI filtering. And we are getting that type of business now. The LED lights used to grow marijuana, which of course is a big topic here in the United States, is definitely one of our emerging, you know, companies, because we've got 3 or 4 companies now that are really having issues with the lighting, you know, to grow, you know, the materials that they need. So, I mean, these are funny things to laugh at, but I every month, I provide my management team in Europe with all of these oddball, and I call them oddball, even though they're not really oddball. It's just to show how big of a breadth.
It's things you wouldn't think of off the top of your head.
Exactly. And I want my reps to always know that there's always these opportunities that they come to me with that you'd be surprised that are needing filters.
And I think those opportunities are just going to expand because I really believe in order to get your product to market, there's going to be a certain, you know, filtration type of thing you have to have, whether it be large or small, in order for you to be able to get your product to market. So I think it's just going to continue to expand for you guys. And kind of like you said, you've kind of been on the uptick for the last 5 or 6 years. I think that trend will continue just because of regulations. So I wanted
to point out before you go, is that, or before you go to the next question, you know, one of the strengths of our company is that we are focused only on EMI products. And I need to mention that from the beginning, because I want the rest of the world to know you've got a lot of companies out there as our competitors, but they do not only concentrate on EMI filters. Schaffner's the only one in that arena worldwide that really devotes all of its time to that one product group. And there's different variations of it with choke, you know, 3-phase, single-phase, all inlets and everything that we have. But, you know, overall, we're the one guy that stayed focused and didn't stray by getting into other product lines that would take us away from what we do best. And people need to understand that. That's what makes us more special to the customer, no matter what it is, no matter what the product is.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And I agree with that. So what I wanted to do was just bring up your website, and we were going to kind of walk through a couple things on the website. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this up for everybody because this is very important, okay? So if you look down here at the bottom, SchaffnerUSA.com, not Schaffner.com, SchaffnerUSA.com. Please keep that in mind unless you're able to read other languages. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. So we don't do that down there, but I'm going to pull this up, and you can walk us through it. I'm going to take this banner off now, but it is Schaffner USA, guys. I will repeat that again at the end of this stream, but please keep that in mind.
It's, you know what, it's the window to our Schaffner.com, not to just ignore our colleagues in Europe, because they do spend a lot of time of really keeping a lot of the backstored data here that you'll find on my website. It's really stored in our servers in Switzerland where all of this data is. But it's good to see the front page of the USA site using that particular entrance, so you can see what's happening in our country that's more specific to us. We try to highlight certain product lines that are more important to our markets, and certain things like EDS, being a, you know, a member of ECIA as well, and being involved in EDS, you know, at the end of the summer this year. You know, those are things you won't see on the corporate website.
Sure. So I'm going to take us over here to the products because ultimately that's what it is everyone does.
Yep.
And just kind of click on EMC and EMI down here. And I think this is a really good guide for people to take a look at. So kind of explain this to everybody.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're out there and you're really looking for a Schaffner filter, you know, there's a lot of ways to search. And, you know, unfortunately, they're not always the best if you just have a part number or a piece of a part number. Sometimes our website doesn't always function to the top of its expectation, as many websites have, you know, these glitches and these problems. But if you go to this page by using exactly the way that Rob went in, with going to the products tab, going to EMI filters, because we do have other product lines, which I'll mention a little bit later, that are not specific, but different groups, different, divisions. I keep looking for the word, different divisions.
Right.
But to get focused on our product line, like I said, this is what we do. This is what we make. It really breaks it up by the kind of components that we handle. And you see there's only probably about 8 categories there of product lines in the EMI world that we really specialize in, whether it be IEC inlet filters, whether it be single phase chassis mount types, 3-phase chassis mount types. You know, there's all types of chokes that we have that are very popular now with a lot of the LED applications that we're talking about already, because chokes can be used on a board level situation. Feed-through components, which has always been a part of our product line, as well as we even have some locking connectors, which we brought in as an accessory product, because if we're going to sell an inlet, we might as well sell a locking connector by Schaffner that you could use to really secure that plug into a very critical device. And a lot of times our medical customers are using these, not to mention the server guys who love that plug because it locks in. Because in a server farm, how many plugs do you have hanging out of these servers?
Yeah, a lot.
You don't want them to disconnect, because there goes your information or your website, so to speak.
Yeah. So I brought something funny to this. I was, like I told you, I was cleaning my house with my fiance, and we got everything together, and I found this. And it's been about 1.5 years since we've been able to walk around with one of these. Now, what this is the Schaffner rep kit.
Yeah, that's a kit.
I had to get the dust off of it, and it took about 20 minutes to get the dust off. But just to give people some.
Tell me that.
Hey, we can't travel anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
So here's the chassis mount.
You dust it every week. You know how I feel. Come on.
Hey, I'm sorry. So we got all these. So if we're ever in there with people, you know, we can show them, just to give you guys some context, a little bit of what that looks like.
Absolutely. And I'll just mention, you know, one of the selling points, you know, for reps or for our distributor partners is obviously the fact that you can have the product and have a sample, because without a sample, guys, we understand you're not going to be able to make a choice. You have to have a sample. You have to throw it in the device that you're developing or the design you're developing, because as you go through the approval process, you'll need that to pass through to get your approval. So having these kits are the best way to get that.
And they're great kits. They really are. I mean, we've got all your popular product lines. You know, we've got like I said, the chassis. Here's the IEC, which is probably the most popular. Then we got some chokes. I mean, there's some bigger ones. I think we have a little PCB one somewhere in here too. Here he is. This little fella right there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's got it all in here, man. That's for sure.
You know, it's a good point. You know, we do have products that are as small as a choke, right? But you can get pretty large.
Oh, yeah.
Up to a 3-phase filter that's pretty heavy, pretty large kind of piece of equipment.
Yeah. Well, here it is, just for context, right? I mean, that's and I've seen, you know, chassis filters that are even bigger than this. It's a custom.
Oh, absolutely. Depending upon the amperage, you know, the size will matter. So.
Right. We can't walk around with one of those in a case, though. But
no,
anyways,
I just send those out. But I'll be honest with you, we will sample them to customers directly so that they can use them to test, because without it, as I said, they don't really know the best way that they'll protect their design.
Right, I thought I'd show you that. You know, it's been so long since we've been able to travel and see customers. I was like, hey, let me get my Schaffner sample box out here and show Ken.
I'm just glad you still have it.
Hey, never ever would lose that. Yeah. So
you know what American Express says: you don't leave home without it. So.
That's right. So I was going to pull up the 9222, if that's okay, and just kind of show people.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd like to you can click on either the part number if you'd like, or you can click onto the data sheet, which I like to really suggest, and a lot of our guys on the inside and outside will give that as a first, go get the data sheet, go take a look at the specifications, especially for size.
Yeah.
The size becomes extremely important on a mechanical, design that needs a certain specification to fit into the design.
For sure. And all the engineers out there, they do have the CAD files. I'm not going to open up a zip file right now, but they do have those.
Yeah. They're hard to open sometimes, only because they're big. And they're pretty descriptive.
So here's the Schaffner data sheet. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I do think it's a really good data sheet. And, it's everything you would expect, but it's all on the Schaffner website, right? So you can go there and find it all. You don't have to sit on Google for, 15 minutes and try to figure that out. So they're all there. And again, if we come back over here, you can actually, to Ken's point, you can filter exactly what you need. All right. And then you guys actually have it by relevance, newest product, which is pretty cool. So if you're looking for the newest and the best, you could take a look at that as well.
But if you click on IEC inlets, you're going to get every IEC inlet that we make. So you'll get every series that's available through either our website or through our distributor partners.
Yeah, really cool.
It's just an easy way to get around on our website. I suggest it to all of our customers, all of our employees do. It's the best way to find out what you're looking for.
And one more time, you just go to products right here and then hit that, and you'll take you right to it. And then you can filter as you need to filter. Cool. Well, let's check out the Schaffner group up here.
Yeah.
Bring up this.
Yeah. So one of the things I really would like you guys to understand is you do have to go over now. Now you're jumping over to our corporate site. And if you check the media tab, okay, which sounds a little odd, but you check the media tab and go over to our Impulse. Schaffner Impulse is our company blog. And this is a great tool for our engineers to use or to have available if they need it, because this is where you'll find any of the most recent information that could be very vital to what you're doing in your design. A lot of the things that we post here are white papers, brochures, data that you really need to see in order to make a decision about what filter you're trying to design. So everything in every industry, depending upon what's happening in our company, our engineers will write these little blog posts that will link to, a little bit more information for the customer, as well as start linking you to all of our products and data sheets that you would need to gather that information. And I always like to point it out because it's something we're proud of that, allows the customers some flexibility and freedom on their own to do that, education, so to speak, before they want to make a decision.
And there's a lot here. It's not like it's, 2 or 3 things. I mean, there's, 30 plus. There's our guy.
We try to post, we've only started this a few years ago, and in a few years, we've gotten up to a pretty good number.
For sure.
But we'll try to post something at least every couple of months that's relevant to a certain industry.
Sure.
Whether it be a new product or more importantly, a new industry that brings you into all the products that would be available for that industry.
Yeah. I would encourage everyone to go read one of Dave Armige's. Show love to everybody else, but read one of the things that he wrote. I mean, he'll blow your mind how smart that guy is, and that's my guy. So I'm gonna prop him up. So yeah, that's the Schaffner.
He loves writing technical papers, Rob. That's his
well, he's good at it. So that's the Schaffner Impulse, and I think we wanted to go over to y'all's YouTube page, which is really cool that you guys have this. So it's the Schaffner group, and I'll just go over to videos, and you can kind of explain what all you can get here.
Well, basically, if you go over to the videos tab, it's a better presentation. You'll see everything that we have in a video format. Now, some of them are going to be presentations that were done, just turned into videos, so that you can get some real good information on just a PowerPoint type structure, but with real data attached to it. Or some of the corporate stuff, some of the things that are going on at Schaffner. It's a great way to get something that's a little bit more active, a little bit more live.
Sure.
We would definitely like to do more videos, but as you know, that's something that's kind of hard to produce, and you want to make sure it's professional and usable for the customer. So we do it to the best of our ability as soon as we can.
Sure. And, we were talking about this earlier, excuse me, but one of the things you guys have is almost what I would consider an interactive PowerPoint, right? It's a little 40-second clip of, walking through a product, right?
Exactly.
And I think it's pretty cool. There's not volume, there's not people talking or whatever, but it's an interactive PowerPoint that kind of runs you through all the specifications over here. Yep. And it shows you what the product is. So I think that's pretty neat. And then, like you said, you got webinars, you have product rollouts that you can come on here and watch a 40-second video, or you can come on here and watch a 40-minute video.
Right. There's a couple on there. There's one for our Thailand facility. I think there's one for our France logistics center.
Sure.
If you're interested in taking a look at what's really behind the scenes, you can see that as well.
Sure. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. The more, so for example, I like to read stuff. My fiance is more of a visual type of person. So this would be great. I could read a Dave Armitage white paper, and then she can come over here and watch conducted emission measurements and limits.
Well, I'm a video kind of guy too, so I feel for your wife. Those technical papers really confuse the hell out of me. So.
She's not my wife yet. I still have a couple months to potentially blow it.
Soon to be.
So knock on wood here, but I haven't screwed it up too bad yet, Ken. So hopefully,
no, you're on the right course. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. She knows she's making the right.
So that's basically the website from a 30,000-foot view. I think is fair. And again, remember, if you go to the Schaffner Impulse, you're going to be taken to the corporate page. Initially, you're going to want to go to SchaffnerUSA.com, and then you can get everywhere you need to get from there. That's a fair point to make, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
I think it's a great way to get into our websites.
Sure.
To come through the USA site, just so you're comfortable with what's happening here in the US first. But everything really, the back pages are all linked, all the data sheets, everything's stored in Switzerland. So it's really going to go right to the corporate site.
Cool. And obviously, I'll post this in the LinkedIn chat, and everyone will have access to that. So I wanted to kind of move on to the elephant in the room that I've talked to everybody about. And, one thing that I haven't really noticed, and I almost had an epiphany. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but when I'm talking to people about COVID and the challenges that they faced, the one thing that I didn't really think about was everyone lives in different states, right? So I had John Hankey on from Hallmark Nameplate, and they're in Florida. And, obviously COVID was serious, but in terms of their business strategy and stuff like that, nothing was really affected. I know you guys are in New Jersey. So tell us some of the challenges that you had to face and overcome, and then some of the things you're proud of. I know there's a lot to unpack there, but obviously take your time and explain that to us.
Well, first of all, we all know in the United States of America, New Jersey is one of the greatest states in the entire union. So let me just start there. Thank God for New Jersey, because where could you go to the beach in the morning or the afternoon, end up in the mountains at night if you wanted to? And mountains, I don't mean real live Rocky Mountains, but we do have Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
We have waterfalls that will marvel some people that don't even understand that we have these kind of things. We have highways, we have everything else. We have cities. We have Newark, which is, a lot there, including a great airport. Yep. So, I mean, it is a good state. I've lived here my entire life, except for one tiny year in Salt Lake City, but we won't get there. But, I've been here and I've really planted myself here because it's a great place. For Schaffner, it's even the obvious place for us to be because, number one, we are near every airport when it comes to air freight, which, by the way, air freight is our number one carrier of choice, is to do it air freight.
Sure.
We do use sea, but now that things are really tied up, within all the ports, we tend to shy away from sea shipments right now because of all the problems that there is. So we bring in everything air because my goal was to make sure that the customers and distributors have everything they need when they need it. So being here in Edison with a warehouse attached to this office really gives us that flexibility rather than being, say, in the middle of the country, maybe on the West Coast, but the West Coast being a little bit more, farther away time zone from our base. Our base being in Switzerland, already they're 6 hours away from me. So, I'm on the phone 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. for meetings with management. It's just something I have to do. If I was any further into the central or western region of this country,
sure,
help me, I'd be up all night. So, you know, and then we have our facilities in Thailand,
right,
and Thailand and China, where we produce all of our EMI filters. And so you're dealing with a whole day kind of stuff.
Right. It's 24/7.
Yeah. So, I mean, New York and New Jersey, you know, are the center for us for this company here. In
Sure.
It allows me the flexibility of also hiring people around the country for my regional manager positions. But luckily, I haven't had to do that in a very long time, as I said, with a strong team that I have. But, you know, it gives me a lot of flexibility. And it really makes me feel very comfortable that we move the offices here. I first started in Springfield, New Jersey, which was a little closer to the airport, but it was in a very small kind of dingy type situation.
Sure.
And I was here 6 months when we moved to this facility. And I decided when I took over, I'm not moving. This building, we like our place. We love the landlords that we deal with every day. This is the greatest place to be. When people come to my office, they can't believe how nice this complex is.
It looks really nice. Just from your backdrop, it looks pretty nice.
Well, if you could see outside, these guys plant flowers 4 times a year in all the flower beds. The grass is perfect. We rival any golf course with grass around. And the guy prides himself on every tree in our complex be the exact right size and trimmed exactly perfectly for the type of tree that it is.
You got to respect that. If you're going to do something, you might as well do it right.
Exactly. You know? If you're going to be anywhere, you should be in Edison, effing New Jersey.
There you go. So we actually had a question come in from LinkedIn. So I'm going to pull this up and let us take a look at it. It's David Bennington. How's the partnership with Lectrix taking your sales through the channel to the next level?
Well, that's a whole topic in itself. David, you know that. It's something that I've talked to you about and many people about. I am a true follower of Graham Kilshaw and Lectrix. Let me explain. Because
real quick, Ken, we're going to have Graham on the show soon, by the way, just so you know. We talked him into doing that, but sorry, go ahead.
Okay. On this show or on a future show?
On a future show, not this one.
He gets in my way on this call. He's in big trouble. No, we are good friends. That's number one. But we met many years ago. I did meet him through Gillis a long time ago, but he has come to me about 4 years ago with a proposal to really kind of be a consultant for Schaffner and generate new leads in the world of marketing. And let me tell you something about Schaffner and marketing. It didn't exist prior to Graham and his company. We were really lost. You know, we're a small organization in the U.S. We only have, 13 or 14 total people around the country working on our product line. So we don't have a specific marketing department. And for many years, the marketing department was Ken Bellero. Now, I can do marketing, and I'm not afraid to do marketing, but I could not do anything close to what Graham has brought to us. He brought us this idea of really reaching out and providing content over product, which was something I didn't really understand in the very beginning. So basically, a lot of those things that Dave wrote, a lot of those things that engineers write in Switzerland as well, we convert them into really interesting information. You can call them brochures, white papers, technical papers, whatever you want to call them. We make it available to these engineers, through a window that allows us to get to see who the engineer is that would like to download this piece of information. Because quite honestly, it's like going to the library and getting the best volume you need on EMI information.
It really is.
Why not try to download it right here on the comfort of your computer with what Graham has provided for us? So he's developed this program that allows those engineers to access the information very easily while we get some of the information to follow up on. And let me tell you, in the last 4 years, I can't even quote you the number of sales qualified leads, SQLs, that we have gotten for this company through Graham's program. He's totally changed everything for us. He's been part of the reason, and his company and his team have been part of the reason why Schaffner has really been blown this thing out of the water in the last 2 to 3 years, because, you know, the first year was the beginning. We were one of the first.
Right.
And we'll admit, Ken and my buddy Scott at Quell were probably the first two that actually took advantage of this program and his first two clients for this type of approach to sales and marketing. And it was a big risk at the time because, you know, we weren't sure where this was going to go or how well this would be received or even how well people would really want to use it. But I can tell you 4 years later, it's part of the reason why we're so successful and why we're number one in the country now as an EMI provider. Great. So if it's brought us to the next level, we might have been, you know, in the basement. We're now off the roof. So it's kind of like we went from the bottom all the way to the top. Since then, I've preached his findings and his teachings. I call him my guru of marketing. I mean, I preach it to everybody I know. I preach it to my fellow networked manufacturers that have issues with marketing. And I have passed it along to about as many people that I could to get, Graham, not only new clients, but to get this information and this type of approach out to a lot more companies that could utilize it and really get something qualified from it. You know, the days of going to a trade show and taking down 1,000 names and maybe one of them is a real guy that you'll ever get a hold of. Sure. Or if you even get a hold of any of them at all is gone. Okay. We don't do that anymore. We don't have to do that anymore. We can do it in a structured way with our rep partners, with our distributor partners, and with Graham and his team leading us in that every direction, every way.
For sure. Well, David, I think that should answer your question.
Of course, David. It took me longer to explain.
Since we're recording this, you can send Graham the bill for that Lectrix plug too.
Graham and I have an understanding, so there's no problem here. We like to promote each other because we know that this is where we're going today. And the fact that, let me also add one last thing. The fact that we were doing this before COVID was way ahead of everybody else. And let me tell you, COVID didn't affect this company, not in any way other than the obvious ones, which
everyone dealt with
not being able to work in the office or doing engineering projects. But it did not hurt us on lead generation because we were able to provide more leads in the last 14 months to our reps who have followed up on every one of them and done everything they can to either get virtual calls or virtual visits if they couldn't get anything live at the time, to really expand our market. I mean, we've gotten really involved in the LED lighting market because of this program, because I did specific marketing items that were targeted to the LED engineer who was having these issues. And the other thing is I've targeted certain markets that I didn't even know about or that we could really play in, which, like robotics now, is emerging for Schaffner as the
be a huge one
market. I mean, medical's always there, and we always have medical customers. So you're always going to see something medical from Schaffner. But on the other side, there's all these other things that are happening.
Oh, yeah.
You know, maybe we're not good at the IoT issue because, you know, we don't have a lot of phone, you know, smartphone or smartwatch type components, but we don't need them because there's a lot of other things like EV chargers that need filters. And it's been great.
Oh, yeah. So that kind of leads me to my next question, you know, on the whole Lectrix thing. It's the question of technology, right? Mm-hmm. So a couple months ago, Tom came and traveled virtually with me through my territory. And we had, I don't know, between our company, probably 14 to 15 really good meetings, right? So for me, the question is, COVID kind of forced technology on a lot of people that were kind of doing things the same way, and it had been effective, so it was totally fine. But when COVID hit, you know, technology kind of exploded, and people said, "All right, well, I need to kind of do a little bit of a pivot here." So I guess the question would be, what success have you seen with technology, and how do you think it's going to play an impact for Schaffner going forward?
It's a great question, and probably something I can go on for half an hour. But to put it in a short way, I think that we are excited about the technologies that are emerging for our product line. Sure. And I'll tell you right now, we are working a lot on new products that you may not even heard of in the EMI field that we are going to try to develop over the next 5 years to get really specific with a lot of these needs that are rising automatic with these new products. I mean, there's not a standard filter. Remember, filtering is no real great science or engineering thing. It's a bunch of capacitors and resistors in a nice little box with a, connection and, all the great things that make electronics work. But there's no real rocket science to it. But now with new technologies taking off, specifically with robotics and, human live robots walking around your office, or robots delivering your food at a restaurant. Here, right in New Jersey, you'd be surprised. The things and the pace of the pace that things are changing is just phenomenal. And I'm excited for this company because we're trying to stay ahead of some of those things. We're looking at light impedance stabilizers because, the whole power issue is something that the whole world is worried about. Not just, the United States. That these are things that are emerging in our product group that you'll find that are still within that EMI, EMC window. It's not straying too much from the actual technologies that we are really good at, but it's going to bring new types of products that we're going to be able to offer for all of those technologies. So I just look with every one of them and go, bring me the next one. We'll do something with it.
Absolutely.
And here's the key. One of the keys for us is we start with a custom filter 90% of the time in these new markets. Because, a standard thing just isn't going to work. So Dave Armitage and his team, or the team in Thailand, or the team in Switzerland, where our hubs of engineering think tanks are, will go to the drawing board and come up with a great custom opportunity for that type of customer. And then that custom winds up becoming more of a standard product as we morph it down the line.
That's right.
So it's the process that we follow. Which I would love for you to show, our local sample center, because that's something we're really proud of right here in Edison, New Jersey.
Absolutely. And this is something that I can't emphasize how important this is for a rep like me, right? So this gives me the ability to get the customer directly in contact with Schaffner, and you're talking to somebody like Dave Armitage, which is just a huge advantage. So kind of explain this and exactly what this is. There's a guy blow drying some or leaf blowing some leaves out there. So if you hear that, I'm sorry. Well,
that's right. Tuesday's landscaping day, but thank God we picked 3 o'clock because you know all the mowers and all the blowers here.
It's just so hot outside. I don't know. So anyways, explain to us this, the engineering.
I'm most proud of this because it was something that I developed myself with Dave Armitage. One of the things that we were struggling with probably about 8 years ago was the fact that some of our key competitors, who will remain nameless at this particular junction, were really good at turning around custom samples locally. We always had to use our technology centers in Thailand and in Switzerland to really come up with a custom. So sometimes it could be 6 to 8 weeks to provide them with a custom. But this sample center that we developed, we tried to create an area where Dave and his team of engineers and technicians can actually design those filters for the customers right here in Edison, New Jersey, and basically provide them with a little sample prototype that can be used for testing. May not be production quality, may not be the best soldering job, it may not be what you would expect as a finished product. But it gives the customer something in their hand that they can take to the lab, that they can take to their local test house, and try it in their unit. And so that's where these customs are born. And in the US, this has been golden because we took what our competitors can do and we multiplied it by 3,000 and made it that much better because we take in products all the time. And thank God for the sample center and the design center here at Edison during COVID, because if we didn't have that, we would have missed a lot of key opportunities, especially in the new market area, like robotics that came into us, where products would show up at our dock here in Edison because the customer couldn't get here. And get Dave on a video call, and he'd have the product in front of him performing the tests right here in Edison, and kind of giving them an idea of what he could do to fix the problem that they were having. So we didn't have that during COVID. We could have really crumbled and had a problem, but we were able to even increase more custom projects because of it.
Right. This is the definition of value add, right? This is just, you get this by doing business with Schaffner, and it's really helpful, man. And when we were talking about doing this interview, this is one of the things that I brought up to you and said, hey, this is something we really need to talk about, just because I cannot emphasize enough how important this is for reps like me. And just being able to say, hey, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, if you need to talk with an engineer at Schaffner, I can make that happen. And you really can. It's not, hey, fill out this form and, wait 72 hours and we'll get back to you. It's like, we'll schedule a Teams call with the engineers there, and we can actually look at what you're having problems with, and they'll be able to advise you a little bit. And that's a very powerful thing, man. And it's really helpful to salespeople.
This has been our gold mine. I won't give you numbers, but we're talking about millions of dollars generated in revenue.
I'm sure.
Center. Millions.
I'm sure. Because
we were able to turn around. And here's the key I didn't mention. We can turn this all around, usually in 2 to 3 days for the customer. Yeah. So, and sometimes overnight, if it's really important. And we've supplied things for a lot of important customers that you'd be surprised, the names that we've been able to get these homemade, let's say homemade, even though they're not, samples into their hands for testing to help them save a project and maybe come up with something for the future. So, it's been vital to our growth and vital to this entire subsidiary in the US.
Absolutely. It's just, what separates you, right? Like, what makes you better than the competition? And this is just one of the best examples that you can give for Schaffner. So I wanted to ask you a tough question, then we'll have a little bit of fun, right? So I told you at the beginning, we practice Big J journalism here. So,
oh, absolutely.
Ken Bellero, what is a leader?
What is a leader? Boy, that's a loaded question. You know that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I meant to look something up because I saw something that I posted internally at Schaffner, and I can't remember exactly. I should, because it's something I should remember. But a leader is not someone who really manages, they really lead by example. And I don't think that was the exact statement, but it was something to that effect.
Sure.
And that's what leadership is to me. I mean, when I took over from Gillis, listen, he was the guy that performed miracles here. He turned a lot of things around before I even got started as president. And he pretty much set the stage for everything that I was able to accomplish. So honestly, he's one of my mentors in this industry and somebody who I respect more than anybody in this industry. And by his ability to teach me how these things need to be done, we've been able to really, really lead by example. I mean, he was the leader. He was the guy that taught me what it is to be a leader. I mean, I've always gravitated towards being, someone that could get people motivated, someone that can get people to do things. I mean, I may be a little bit rough around the edges when it comes to reality, but I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth.
That's okay. Yeah, and that's what I like.
The reason why I have a team that is with me for such a long time is not because it's the greatest company in the world to work for, although I may have made it sound that way. It's got its flaws. Let's not kid ourselves. But it's because I've developed a team and I can lead this organization and I can provide that ear for them to allow them to see that I'll stand up for you, okay? I will do whatever it takes to make us as successful as possible if you help me do it, in this way. And to me, that's a leader. That's someone who will take control of the situation and really take their people. The other important quality that I'd never forget about is this. Yep. Before this, I've got to listen and I've got to understand what it is that my employees, my customers, my reps, my distributors need or want. And my answer always is, hey, how can I help you today? I want to know what it is. Tell me. And then I'll try to help through my experience and my knowledge, either with the company or just with personal issues. Let me be that for you. And to me, that's what leadership is.
I agree. It's a great definition. That's one of my favorite questions to ask as we've been on this. It's, everyone has a different answer. And for the most part, they're all are kind of the same, but it's just how you interpret it. And it's the little intricacies that make leadership so important. I brag on Mark and Emmett all the time, but I just, I got really lucky. I'm a guy who was a cook and, they had the cojones to take a chance on me. And, I can go to them and ask them anything and, say, hey, I don't understand this. I don't know what and, they mentor me, they lead me. So I got really, really lucky, really lucky. So leadership is very important.
Well, there's a little luck involved too, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes we land in the right spot. You don't know it till we're here, but you get in the right spot at the right time, and that's important.
Right. So I thought we would have a little bit of fun. So I've been running through questions with people.
I better take a drink of water for this one.
Okay. So I thought what we would do, though, instead is have something that we can refer back to, right? And that I can plaster all over LinkedIn. So what I decided we would do is I have a tier maker here. So we're going to go through and we'll trade off one by one. And you can choose any of these restaurants and you can put them in top tier, A, B, C, D, you know, just like a grading system. And then ones you've never been to. So we'll see if it's mostly fast food, which is kind of gross, but let's be honest, we've all eaten.
I will be honest with you. You're not going to see me answer a lot of these except for maybe one or two because I don't go fast food.
All right, great. That's even better. So let's let you start then out of all these.
Well, number one for me out of this whole list is Panera Bread without
Okay. So is that top tier or is that A?
Top tier.
Okay. So for me, this is my top tier right here.
Well,
Jersey Mike's.
Well, good.
Okay.
I like Jersey Mike's. And you know why I like Jersey Mike's? Number one, because it was based in New Jersey and it came from Jersey. But number two, they're the only place I can get gluten-free bread, which I absolutely need to eat a sub. And that's the only place I can get it.
So here is a fun little story about me. My first job ever where I was a manager was actually at Jersey Mike's. And it was me and my buddy Dylan, and we managed 2 Jersey Mike's in Columbia, South Carolina. We met Peter Cancro. I don't know if you know who Peter Cancro is, the owner of Jersey Mike's. Really. And we've got all the hidden, you know, restaurant items. If you ever go back in there, order the number 12. It's not on the menu. Just tell them to give you a number 12. It's the Cancro, and it's a really good sandwich.
I will try.
So that's a good one. So you got any other ones on here? If not, I'll kind of.
Let me see. Yeah, you can forget about all the McDonald's and Burger Kings and all that. I will go with Chipotle. I'll be honest with you. I've always been a little bit partial to Chipotle when I want to go for a quick Mexican lunch. But be honest with you, I've been on a really strict type of health conscious diet in the last 30 to 60 days.
There you go.
Because that COVID pounds just was eating me alive.
Yeah, clearly I haven't been on the greatest diet in the world.
Well,
but that's okay.
I did something about it finally.
So we'll put Chipotle at A, unless you think it's top tier. I don't know.
Put it in A because I don't go there much anymore, but it's something I would go to.
Okay, so this one I'm going to put in the F category. This is the worst place in the history of places.
Okay, well, I've never been there, so I can't say.
Sonic. Never go there. If you ever see a Sonic, speed up your car, drive straight past. Do not ever go there. It is really, really bad. What about pizza? You ever get takeout pizza?
Well, see, I have that same problem with gluten. So
okay.
I don't take out pizza from anybody because unfortunately the chains, I know Papa John's and Domino's has a gluten-free pizza, but you can't even eat them. They taste like cardboard with, tomato sauce and mozzarella.
That's true.
I prefer to do it at home. I have my own pizza stone with my gluten-free crust, and I create them on Friday nights.
And see, what's so crazy? I was looking around on here, and there was one that was Italian foods, and I was like, well, me and Ken can go through the Italian foods. And I pulled it up, and it was just like the worst kind of Italian. It was like boxed frozen pizzas, and I was like, that's not Italian food.
Well,
like,
one that you don't have on there that I frequently go to that I enjoy more than any of them is Seasons 52. And I know it's not a fast food chain.
Okay.
But it's definitely a chain around the country now that is phenomenal. And it's like one of my favorite places here in Edison, New Jersey.
See, I've never heard of Boston Market in my life. Is that a thing?
We have that. Yeah.
Okay.
They have good chicken.
Never heard of it in my life.
You want chicken just to stay away from the fry. They have good rotisserie type chicken.
Okay. Fair enough. So we have Chick-fil-A down here.
Yeah, I could go for Chick-fil-A, but I don't know. I'm not too sure I'm on the same bandwagon as their whole.
See, I'm not either. I'm going to put it as a B just for service purposes. Their service is fantastic.
Well, I know.
But the food is like, my fiance loves it. I know Emmett loves it, but it's just like, it's
okay. I can eat a lot because they fry everything except for the grilled chicken option.
Yeah. So here's Arby's. This is also disgusting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the meat mountain from Arby's?
If I was 28 years old, if I was 28-year-old, well, I might say Arby's.
Let me show you this.
The roast beef. Oh, the meat mountain. No, I didn't want
There's a sandwich called the meat mountain at Arby's.
No, I don't want to see it.
Look at this thing.
Oh my God. No, you can't. You can't do that. Listen,
So
I'm a heart patient. You guys know I've had a heart attack. So this would never be in my diet.
Could you imagine driving to somewhere and actually ordering this?
No.
I mean, that is just the crazy. It's a real thing too. Oh man, too funny. All right, so a couple more fun questions.
Yes, sir.
Best movie of all time.
Oh God. Well, I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for romantic comedies.
Okay.
So
I actually like romantic comedies.
One of my favorites. But if I had to answer this honestly, as a full-blood American male, Gladiator is one of my favorite.
Awesome movie. I love Russell Crowe in that movie.
Rate that movie, and when you really get into it and watch it over and over again, you start to find things that are just amazing about Gladiator. It was on the other night, and I caught the end of it. Just for the hell of it, because man, he was outstanding. Not to mention the one that played the Joker, who's the Caesar.
Yeah, Heath Ledger.
Yeah. No.
Oh, you're talking about Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
I forgot until I started seeing it again that he's in that as Caesar. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. When he does and then thumbs up or thumbs down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great movie. We watched Armageddon yesterday for Memorial Day because, Bruce Willis's character, Harry Stamper, one of the greatest patriots in American history.
Pictures, It's not my thing.
Favorite band of all time?
I have to say there's only really one. I know everybody's expecting me to say some rock, huge rock band. But to be honest, absolutely honest, it's Fleetwood Mac.
Ooh, that's such a good choice.
Band of all times is Fleetwood Mac, from the very early stages of their career, all the way through to Stevie Nicks being solo, to even some of Lindsey Buckingham's solo stuff.
Yeah.
I love that group.
Yeah,
and Landslide, the lyrics are on my wall because that's one of my all-time favorite songs.
Have you ever heard the chick in the subway singing Landslide?
Oh, so many people have done it. No, I haven't heard that. No.
I'll pull this one up and then I'll let you run because I think you would think this is a pretty cool one. Let me it's really awesome. I'll do Subway. I bet you
anybody sing Landslide is fine with me.
Yeah.
Except for me. I don't sing so well. So I think I do, but not so well.
So this chick is amazing, man. Let me make sure I share my audio. Everyone will actually here we go. So listen to how good this is. Everyone will enjoy this.
And you don't need any of these to make money from the stock market.
Oh, thank you.
Here right now, we
there
will
you
show
go.
you how you could collect.
Got to have a commercial here, Thank you for that.
Listen how awesome this girl is.
That's great, man.
She's amazing. She's really good. She does like a TED Talk.
Yeah, anytime I see people interpreting this song, I just get gravitated towards it. Whether it's on the competition shows, The Voice, whatever, anywhere that they do Landslide. I even like the Dixie Chicks, that was a good version too. So
Amir said, wow, I did not know you're a Fleetwood Mac fan.
Oh, he should have known that. I have the damn thing hanging right there on my wall.
You got to be more observant, Amir.
Yeah, he hasn't been here. He's in Houston now. So
okay.
He's deserted me. He's no.
Then you get a pass.
So
you get a pass. So then a couple more. Here's some nice words from Dave. Ken is best in class leaders in the industry.
Thank you, David.
Graham, who I'll see tomorrow. Me and Graham have a Teams call. I'll see you tomorrow, Graham.
There's my cheerleader right there.
And then Kim.
The master. He's the master.
So nice words from Kim, too.
Thanks, Kim. Wow, this is great. This is great.
So it's been a lot of fun, man.
I was just a little bit nervous, but I'm a showman by trade, since I spent a lot of years in broadcasting before I even got into this crazy industry. But this was fun, and it was great to really talk with you, Rob. I just want to say one thing. I just want to really pat you on the back.
Thanks. Because
the things that you are doing through Wallace as my rep down in North Carolina, and I don't mean to do this because you invited me to this thing. I mean this sincerely.
Well, thank you.
You have really taken the lead, and people are noticing a lot of the things that you've been able to create to really make not only Schaffner, but all of the lines that you represent so important and so market driven and so in the face of the customers. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done, including things like this, where we get to talk with you and just hang out. I think it's great. One of the best things that's happening.
I really appreciate that. I really do. We're just trying to do some new things. And, honestly, it's really Mark and Emmett. They've empowered me to do these kind of things, and they haven't, held me back. And they're allowing me to take some risks and kind of push the envelope, which a lot of companies won't let their employees do.
No, it's all about taking risks, Rob. Today, you have got to take risks with what's happening in this world, because if you don't, you won't know if it works.
Absolutely.
Great to fail, because to fail is to succeed.
100%. I'm right there with you. But I really do appreciate the kind words, and we're trying.
We're trying.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, everyone, that's Ken Bellero of Schaffner. Again, SchaffnerUSA.com. You can get to the other site from there. Thanks so much for coming on, man. We'll have to do this again sometime.
No problem. I would love to do it again.
Yep.
And don't forget, anybody listening, you want to call me direct, you want to contact me direct, please. Ken.Bellero@Schaffner.com. Anytime, anywhere. You got it.
Great. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a good summer, everybody. See you in Vegas.
That's right. Woo-woo. All right, everyone. That was Ken Bellero with Schaffner. Really fun interview. I knew that one was going to be a good time. I'm Rob Brunson with Wallace Electronic Sales. Thanks for spending what's been about an hour with us again today. We really appreciate it. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks, everyone, so much for watching the stream. It's Rob Brunson with Wallace Electronic Sales. We want to provide you and your company with quality and competitive solutions. We don't care if you're a small OEM, a medium-sized OEM, or a large OEM. We have solutions that we can provide to everybody. Feel free to drop me an email at rob.brunson@west-inc.com. Again, that's robbrunson@west-inc.com. You can also check out our full OEM line card on our website, and that's at west-inc.com. Again, that's at west-inc.com. Thanks so much again for watching the stream, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Send